So Rupert, you're from the Jewellery Museum. How are you?
That's right, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah,
Now,
thanks.
this area has got a really rich history in jewellery making. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, jewellery making has been going back in the town since about the 1460s. That's the first definite record. But precious metal working became established in the later 17th century when Charles II came out of exile. And he came out of exile bringing a taste for fancy buttons and buckles and stuff. And Birmingham manufacturers started making them. And so well established did that become that this became known as the toy shop of Europe. And then the jewellery trade grew out of that as a sideline, a specialist sideline of it.
Wow, I love hearing about the rich history of like any kind of trade really.
Yes.
But standing in this magnificent room, it used to be a factory, right?
Yes.
So when was it in its heyday?
In about the 50s and 60s. It began in 1899 when Charles Smith and his uncle Edwin Pepper decided to break away from their dad's company called Smith & Ewan, and they specialised in making bangles and bracelets. And the 50s and 60s they had so many orders on the books that the boss would go down to London to see his customers, but just to go around thanking them for the sheer amount of work they had coming in. So it was very busy.
I can imagine, there's a lot of different workspaces here. How many people were working in this factory?
Well, down in the factory down here there were 37 people at work down here, and then there were about 4 people upstairs.
Wow.
But the Birmingham trade was a trade of something called small masters in general, which was a trade of small-scale firms. So this was considered a medium to large-scale firm for Birmingham jewellery trade. And somebody once told me for the size of this firm, it was one of the larger gold producers in the country.
We've talked a lot about the history of the jewellery industry, but what about the current industry? Are there still a lot of jewellery makers around?
Yeah, there's still a good fair few around. Last time anybody did any statistics, this was still the largest cluster of manufacturers and retailers in Europe, producing about 40% of the country's jewellery, but most of its gold jewellery is still produced in the quarter. Yeah. But that's a reduction from the trade when it was in its heyday in 1913, when it was reckoned there were around 70,000 people relying on this trade for a living, both as craftspeople, who were about 30,000, but the other 40,000 were all the ancillary trades, the bullion dealers, the tool makers who'd settled here. But yeah, it's still sort of the largest centre in Britain for manufacturing jewellery.
So it's kind of like a web, right?
It is.
Web kind of affecting a lot of different people down the chain.
Oh yes, indeed, yes.
And then what about the museum? How long has this place been a museum?
Since 1992. In 1981, the firm of Smith & Pepper, whose factory we're in, they closed. And eventually it came into the hands of Birmingham City Council, and then it was opened as a museum in 1992.
Do you find that people are still really interested to come and find out about the trade?
Oh yeah, we got, of all the little museums in the sort of Birmingham Trust, we have the most international visitors. We've got people from all the way around the world to come to see us, and routinely we take them around the old factory and show them both the handcrafting techniques and the machine-produced techniques for manufacturing jewellery, and the reception is generally very good. People are very interested in, because we were able to be very practical about bringing the whole thing to life.
Yeah.
And this place is an incredible time capsule, so...
It is. You can smell the history.
Oh, you can indeed.
You guys have a variety of different displays on here at the Jewellery Museum. Can you tell me about some of those?
Yeah, we've got static displays, permanent galleries which feature history of the Jewellery Quarter. Then the top floor galleries, all about all of the substances used in jewellery making, actually made into jewellery.
Oh, nice.
Then we've got sort of temporary exhibition galleries, but also we've got education spaces and corporate hire spaces as well.
So there's a lot to learn here, isn't there?
Immense amount, yeah. It's a small museum, but it's absolutely packed full of historical goodness.
I hear that the museum actually offers different workshops.
Yeah, indeed.
Which ones? What's going on?
We offer a whole range of jewellery making workshops, so you can make silver rings or bracelets or all of these kind of things. It's a full day course, including all your refreshments, and we've got a dedicated area in the museum specifically with workbenches, etc. And we sort of employ notable craftspeople from the area to come and teach them.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. But we're going to get to work now, aren't we? You're going to show me some stuff.
Yeah, we've got a whole factory full of working equipment and tools, etc.